Welcome back to the channel Old Coins ValueDo's fascinating journey into the world of rare coins, where we uncover the hidden stories and incredible values that lie behind what might appear at first glance to be just ordinary pocket change. And in this video, we're going to dive deep into the mysterious and highly intriguing 1994 P1 dime coin from the United States of America, a coin that has shocked collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike because of its astonishing value that has been estimated at a staggering $21 million, an amount so far beyond its simple face value of 10 cents that it seems almost unbelievable until we break down the history, the details, the minting process, the variety of errors, the mint mark anomalies, and the rarity factors that together elevate this coin from a simple piece of everyday currency into an artifact of immense historical, numismatic, and financial significance. And as we move through this exploration, you will discover why such coins ignite the imagination of collectors and why one small coin can change lives forever. So let us begin by understanding that the dime, worth just 10 cents to the average person in 1994, was part of a long tradition of coinage in America. And in that particular year, millions of dimes were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, represented by the P Mint mark. Yet among these millions emerged a handful that carried errors so unique and mint mark oddities so extraordinary that they defied the normal expectations of the minting process. And these flaws, which to most people might have gone unnoticed, are the very characteristics that transform such a coin into a legendary collector's item. And we must appreciate that in the realm of numismatics, rarity combined with error creates a perfect storm of value. For collectors know that while billions of coins are produced every decade, only a vanishingly small fraction slip through with mistakes that not only survive but also remain in exceptional condition. So the 1994 P dime under discussion is believed to be a once-in-a-generation error coin, carrying with it the potential misalignment of dies, double striking, mispunched mint marks, planchet flaws, and even off-metal strikes that have been rumored to exist in certain test runs of that year. And when such an error coin surfaces, it becomes more than just a dime. It becomes a tangible piece of minting history and a symbol of imperfection that paradoxically makes it perfect in the eyes of collectors. And one of the most intriguing aspects lies in its mint mark anomalies, for the Philadelphia Mint had introduced the P Mint mark only a decade and a half earlier. And while most 1994 dimes carry the P neatly struck, there exist rare examples where the mint mark is repunched, misplaced, faint, or even missing, and such variations can skyrocket a coin's desirability. Because collectors understand that mint marks are the identifying DNA of a coin, and when something unusual occurs with them, it is as if the coin has been marked by history itself. And this has been the case with the legendary $21,001,994 P dime, where the mint mark error is said to have combined with a dramatic striking flaw, resulting in a coin that is absolutely unique. And uniqueness is the golden rule of value in numismatics, for while condition, grade, luster, and strike all play important roles, what truly sets a coin apart is whether there is another exactly like it. And when the answer is no, the bidding wars begin, private collectors and museums compete, prices soar, and suddenly a 10-cent coin becomes a multi-million-dollar treasure. And when we reflect on why the 1994 P dime is so valuable, we must remember the human fascination with rarity, mistakes, and hidden treasures has always driven extraordinary prices. Whether it is a stamp misprinted upside down, a baseball card with a factory flaw, or a comic book with a rare first edition. Error, the story remains the same. Imperfections create perfection for collectors. And so it is with this coin, whose errors represent an unrepeatable moment in minting history, frozen in time on a tiny disc of copper nickel. And if we imagine the journey of such a coin, from the bustling coining presses of Philadelphia in 1994 through the pockets of ordinary Americans, possibly rattling in change jars, maybe even passed in a grocery store or vending machine, until finally it is discovered by someone with a keen eye who realizes its extraordinary features. We understand why stories of coins like these fuel dreams and why so many people sift through their spare change in the hope of discovering such a life-changing piece. And beyond its technical minting anomalies, The 1994 P Dime's mythic reputation also grows because very few have been confirmed in the public domain, making its existence part reality and part legend, with whispers of private sales, rumored auction attempts, and expert speculation, all of which build an aura around the coin and contribute to the multi-million-dollar valuation. For in collectibles, perception and story are as powerful as the object itself. And when you combine the cold hard facts of rarity and error with the warm human desire for uniqueness and treasure, you create a market that has no ceiling. And so in considering this dime's worth, we also must explore the grading process, where professional services evaluate every scratch, luster, rim, and mark. And in the case of the legendary $21 million specimen, it is said to be in extraordinary condition, perhaps even a high mint state grade, which amplifies the value exponentially. For error coins in poor condition may be valuable, but error coins in pristine condition enter a league of their own. And thus we understand that the 1994 P Dime's astronomical price is not an arbitrary number, but a reflection of multiple factors converging. Extreme rarity, dramatic mint. Error, unusual mint mark issue, high grade preservation, and the insatiable demand of collectors who are willing to pay whatever it takes to own a piece of numismatic history that no one else can claim. And if we ask ourselves why $21 million, the answer lies in precedent. For over the years, other coins like the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle, the 1794 Flowing Hair Dollar, and the 1913 Liberty Head Nickel have fetched millions at auction precisely because they're unique or nearly unique. And so, when an error dime surfaces that carries such extraordinary distinctions, the numismatic market recognizes it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and the price reflects not just the metal or the face value, but the narrative of rarity, error, survival, and legend. And therefore, while to an untrained eye the 1994 P Dime may appear ordinary, to those in the know, it represents the pinnacle of coin collecting. And in closing this journey, let us appreciate that coins like. These remind us that even the smallest everyday objects can hold unimaginable stories and value. They remind us to look closely at what we hold in our hands, to treasure history in its many forms, and to recognize that sometimes the difference between 10 cents and $21 million is simply the story written in metal by the hands of chance and time. And with that, we conclude our deep dive into the extraordinary 1994 P Dime, a coin that teaches us that mistakes can become miracles, and that the pursuit of rare coins is not only about collecting metal, but also about collecting history, dreams, and the possibility of life-changing discovery hidden in plain sight. We dive deep into the incredible story of the 1997 P1 Dime USA coin, a coin that has stunned collectors and enthusiasts around the world because despite its humble face value of just 10 cents, it has been associated with an astounding estimated worth of up to $23 million thanks to a combination of minting errors, striking mistakes, die variations, mint mark anomalies, and the endless possibilities that make numismatics one of the most exciting hobbies and investments anyone can explore. So, as you settle in for this long and detailed discussion, let's go on a continuous stream of thought without interruptions or pauses to understand why a single coin produced in 1997, seemingly ordinary to the casual observer, can be regarded as so extraordinary by serious collectors, and why the dynamics of rarity, demand, historical circumstances, and error types can elevate a small piece of metal from spare change to a treasure rivaling the price of mansions, luxury cars, and even fine art. Because to understand the magic of this coin, we need to go back to how dimes are minted, the processes of the United States mint facilities, the materials used, and how a minor slip in engraving, striking, or marking can lead to variations that are almost impossible to replicate and therefore infinitely valuable. And one of the most remarkable aspects of the 1997 P1 dime is the combination of error types that collectors whisper about, some claiming that certain examples from this year exhibit double die obverse errors where inscriptions like Liberty or the year 1997 appear doubled under magnification. while others talk about off-center strikes where the design is shifted away from the center, creating an uneven rim that makes the coin stand out at once as abnormal. And still others note missing mint marks where the P, representing the Philadelphia Mint, is absent altogether or mispunched, leading to multiple impressions of the mint mark in strange locations, which might sound minor, but to a seasoned numismatist, this is like finding a unique signature on a priceless painting. And these tiny deviations in production become magnified in value because of their scarcity, because in a year where millions of dimes were struck, only a tiny handful might display these dramatic mistakes. And it is that rarity combined with demand that propels the price to unbelievable heights. But why $23 million? Why such an astronomical figure for a 10-cent piece? And the answer lies in the psychology of collecting, the prestige of owning something that no one else has, and the marketplace of auctions where wealthy collectors are willing to outbid each other for bragging rights and historical acquisitions. And when experts verify authenticity through grading agencies like PCGS or NGC and confirm the presence of authentic mint errors, the coin becomes a legend in its own right, sparking bidding wars and rumors of private sales that push the perceived value even higher. And in the case of the 1997 P1 dime, the stories of unique errors have made it the subject of online discussions, numismatic articles, and passionate debates among collectors who argue about whether the $23 million tag is justified. But regardless of the precise figure, the undeniable truth is that error coins like this represent the pinnacle of numismatic fascination, because they embody the unpredictable meeting of human craftsmanship, machine precision, and chance imperfection, producing something that cannot be duplicated by intent and thus stands outside the normal categories of mass production. And if we look deeper into the minting process, we can imagine how a coin like this might come to be, where a misaligned die might strike the planchet, leaving off-center impressions, where grease-filled dies might obscure details like the letters in God We Trust, or United States of America, where double dies might cause the date to shimmer with a ghostly second image, and where mint mark punches done manually in earlier decades sometimes resulted in repunched mint marks. But in 1997, the transition to machine processes still left rare cases where the P mint mark carried anomalies, and collectors cherish such quirks as symbols of the evolution of the minting process itself, tying a simple dime to the grand history of American currency. And when we think about why this particular year stands out, we remember that by the 1990s, dimes were not silver anymore, but rather a copper-nickel clad composition, which to the average person seems mundane, and thus makes it even more shocking that within such a common material could lie hidden treasures worth millions. And that contrast between the everyday and the extraordinary give the 1997 P1 dime its allure, because someone could unknowingly spend it at a store, drop it in a vending machine, or let it sit in a jar of coins without realizing that what they hold is not just 10 cents, but potentially life-changing wealth. And this possibility ignites the imagination of collectors worldwide who search through rolls of dimes from banks, inherited collections, or change from their pockets in hopes of striking it rich with such a find. And countless stories circulate about people discovering rare coins in circulation decades after their release. So who is to say that another 1997 P1 dime with monumental errors is not waiting somewhere to be discovered? And as we continue unraveling the fascination of this coin, we must understand how numismatic grading scales factor into the valuation. Because a coin with such errors in poor circulated condition might be remarkable, but would never reach the $23 million figure, while a pristine, uncirculated specimen with sharp details, brilliant luster, and well-documented error features would command the highest bids. And the preservation of such a coin over decades adds another layer of rarity, because most coins from 1997 were used in daily commerce, passed from hand to hand, exposed to scratches and wear, making a surviving high-grade example with errors nearly mythical. And this myth status is what propels collectors to extraordinary lengths, chasing rumors, attending auctions, and consulting experts in hopes of being part of numismatic history. And indeed, when we look back at famous auction sales of other error coins like the 1955 double die cent, the 1937 three-legged buffalo nickel, or the 2004 Wisconsin quarter with extra leaf error. We see a pattern where unusual mistakes captivate the public imagination and generate values far beyond what seems rational. And the 1997 P1 dime simply takes this to the extreme, becoming a symbol of how errors that slip past quality control can become national treasures. And to hold such a coin would be to hold a mystery, a piece of history, and a fortune all at once. And that is why discussions of its worth circle around the idea of $23 million. Because in the world of collectibles, value is not just about metal content, but about stories, uniqueness, and the unrepeatable moment when error meets discovery. And as you reflect on the tale of the 1997 P1 dime, remember that the world of coin collecting is full of such hidden gems, each with its own narrative, but none perhaps as legendary as this humble 10-cent piece that transcended its face value by millions through the alchemy of rarity, demand, and human fascination.